Part 4, The Way. Till study should not allay in thee the sense of separateness, the mind cannot take on the form of that essence, and thou canst not realize the real self. For indeed, are the gatekeepers at the entrance of the palace of liberation, 1. Self-restraint, 2. Contemplation, 3. Contentment, 4. Company of the wise. Yoga Vasishta. He alone escapes from the web of illusion, in this world, even like the lord of beasts from the trap which holds him fast, who, with all acts, all pleasures, attuned to the supreme aim, puts forth strong personal effort in that behalf. Yoga Vasishta. Trees continue to vegetate, and so do live on beasts and birds. He alone lives whose mind lives not in consequence of taking on a variety of forms. All holy writ is so much burden to him who has no discrimination, all philosophy is so much burden to him whose germ of desire is not destroyed. The mind is so much burden to him who has not acquired self-control, the body is so much burden to him who knows only the Anatman, non-self. Yoga Vasishta. There can be no man more despicable than him who does not put into practice the words of the proficient teacher, who explains, with great pains, the real truth, on being questioned. Yoga Vasishta. All desire is ignorance, the destruction of desire is liberation, and this liberation, O Rama, is easily brought about only by ceasing to desire. The mind experiences bondage from the firm conviction I am not the real self. It realizes entire freedom, from the equally firm conviction I am the real self. Yoga Vasishta. He continually sees the real self, who studies to unify philosophy, and the teacher's explanations, with the facts of his own consciousness. Yoga Vasishta. The light breaking in upon the mind should not be excluded by that false logic which puts forth unholy guesses of every kind up to the obliteration even of the facts of consciousness. Yoga Vasishta. With no confidence in the facts of his own consciousness, and with the obvious endlessness of argumentation, how would he who poses himself as a professor of logic, obtain conviction of truth? If argumentation is meant as a help to the intellect, you are welcome to argue in accord with the facts of your consciousness, but certainly not to argue without aim, in any line you choose. Panchadasi. The sense of this can never be gathered by intellect alone, O beloved one. It leads to real knowledge only when used by one who really knows. This knowing is that which thou, O child of truth, hast already acquired. Upanishads. There indeed can be no better questioner than thyself. Upanishad. This self is not realizable by study, nay, not even by intelligence or much learning. The self unfolds its full essence to him alone who applies his self to self. He who has not given up the ways of vice, he who is not able to control himself, he who is not at peace within, he whose mind is not at rest, can never realize the self, though full of all the learning in the world. That which lies at the root of all distinctions of caste and creed is its food, even death itself is its drink. Who, not so prepared, can know what it is? Upanishad. How can books enlighten that lump of clay fashioned in the form of man, who does not in any manner realize the truth explained to him with all possible clearness? Nishkarmasati. We rejoice with those whom we recognize as centered in self-realization. The rest we pity with the deluded we did not care to argue. Panchadasi. Talk as much philosophy as you please, worship as many gods as you like, observe all ceremonies, sing devoted praises of any number of deities. Liberation never comes, even at the end of 100 kalpas, without realization of the oneness of self. Vivekaknidamani. Who knows spiritual consciousness passes beyond death, and enters immortality. Upanishad. The good is one thing, the agreeable another. Men find them in a variety of objects and become bound, one way or other. He who attaches himself to the supreme good reaps the highest bliss. He who pursues the agreeable is cheated of the real object of existence. Upanishad. These, the good and the agreeable, thou knowest, are opposed one to the other in their very nature, and having entirely different results in store. Upanishads. The various desires I propose to thee fail to move, thou art really devoted to the agreeable alone. Groping about in its night, fools flatter themselves with wisdom and learning, and continue to tumble about, without end, like the blind led by the blind. Upanishad. Mundaka. The lyre with all the beauty of its make, and the melody of its music, serves at best to please the hearer. It cannot lead to universal empire. In the same manner all the flow of speech, all the stream of sweet words, All the skill expended in explaining philosophy, all that the learned call learning, has the senses and mind, not the self, for its end. Vain is the study of philosophy if it leads not to the essence, equally vain is all philosophy if the essence is realized. Vivekaknidamani. Disease disappears not with the mere name of medicine, but by actually swallowing it. Talking of the self, without proper realization, can never bring about liberation. Till the objective is not dissolved in the subject, till the essence of self is not realized, no liberation can come from speaking its mere name. All the fruit of such activity is only waste of so much breath. Vivekaknidamani.